Welcome back to Wittenberg Academy's Latin 2 course. This is lesson 52 in first year Latin on page 94. This is an introduction to the perfect and participial systems. Don't get freaked out by this chapter. Don't memorize any of these long, lists of what's formed on what stem, because as we proceed, after he gets done introducing us to these ideas, we'll actually learn each one of these one by one, and then you can memorize how they're formed. But as an introduction, the perfect active system. On the perfect stem, the following tenses are formed: perfect, pluperfect, future perfect indicative, perfect and pluperfect subjunctive, perfect infinitive active. The participial system. On the participial stems, that's the fourth principal part. Remember, laudo is the first principal part, present indicative active. Laudare, the present infinitive, is the second principal part. The third principal part is the perfect indicative active, laudavi, and the perfect passive participle is the fourth principal part, laudatus. All right. Well, on that participial stem, the perfect participle passive, the future participle active, and the supine. And again, don't worry about what these things are. We'll get there. The perfect passive system. The perfect participle passive combines with forms of the verb sum to make the following tenses. The perfect indicative passive with sum, as in amatus sum. And again, we're going to learn this, but this is one perhaps to note now. English speakers often find this confusing. Amatus sum looks like I am loved, but it means I was loved. I have been loved. It's a past tense, but it uses the present tense of sum. German does this with verbs of motion. Forms the past tense with the verb to be instead of to have, and French also, the Dr. and Mrs. Van de Tramp verbs, which are formed with to be. At any rate, pluperfect indicative passive with a rom, etc. I'm not going to read all this paragraph. Again, it's not important to memorize this at this time. He's giving you another break. We're just gently introducing ideas before we get this tornado of forms, and continuing to give you time to catch up. If you are behind, please catch up. We're about to get new forms. Some vocabulary. Columbus, it's a name, Columbus. Desidero, I wish for, I desire. Disputo, disputo, I argue or debate. Navigo is I sail. And again, can you form these principal parts? Navigo, navigare, navigavi, navigatus. Omnia, everything, all things. Potestas, power or opportunity. Proximus, nearest, next, or last. So the nearest part of the army to the enemy is the last place in line. All right, our translations. Do your best and then check your work. Number 1, Columbus ex Hispania parvis navigavit. Columbus ex Hispania parvis navigavit. The verb, parse the verb, navigavit. Perfect, indicative active, third person singular. He, she, or it sailed. Columbus sailed from Spain in small ships. Agrumne proximum silvae hoc anno aravisti. Agrumne proximum silvae hoc anno aravisti. The verb aravisti is, parse it, perfect, second person singular, indicative active. He or you have plowed. Have you plowed agrum proximum, the field next to the woods this year? Quid post pugnam desideravisti. Quid post pugnam desideravisti. Again, it's second person singular, perfect, indicative active. You have desired. What have you desired after the fight? What have you desired after the fight? Desideravimus, 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 magnum numerum rerum pretiosarum. Again, it's perfect. It's first person plural, indicative active. We have desired a great number of precious things, of expensive things. Mariamne et Carolinam ad caenam hodie vesperi expectavistis. Mariamne et Carolinam ad caenam hodie vesperi expectavistis. Expectavistis. Accents on the second last. It is second person plural. Expectavistis it's perfect, indicative active. Were you expecting? Were you expecting Mary and Carolyn to dinner this evening? Omne frumentum ante noctum sine magno labore portaveramus. Omne frumentum ante noctum sine magno labore portaveramus. What tense is portaveramus? That's pluperfect. First person plural. We had carried all the grain, omnem frumentum, before nightfall without much labor. We had carried all the grain before nightfall without much work. Very good. You can learn hey diddle diddle at the bottom of the page if you so desire. That brings us to the end of lesson 52. Now lesson 53 we begin to learn our passive system. So get ready for those endings.